I said the first thing you do is you smash it. Well, before you smash it, you have to crack them. So you crack the peanuts first. So the first thing is crack, then smash. Then after you smash them, then you spread it on the bread. Got it? All righty. Here we go. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. First you take the peanuts and you crack them. You crack them. You crack them, crack them, crack them. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. Next you take the peanuts and you smash them. You mash them. You mash them, mash them, mash them. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. Next you take the peanut and you spread it. You spread it. You spread it, spread it, spread it. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. Next you take the grapes and you pick them. You pick them, pick the grapes. You're picking the grapes off of that thing. We're making grape jelly apparently. Peanut butter and jelly. Next you take the grapes and you squish them, you squish them, you squish them, squish them, squish them. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. Next you take the bread and you spread it, you spread it, you spread it, spread it, spread it. Peanut butter and jelly. Now we got a bread with peanut butter and a peanut and bread with jelly. Now what? Sandwich. Eat it, eat it, you eat it, eat it, eat it. Oh, they're not singing anymore. I guess their mouths are stuck together.
They stuck together.
Peanut butter and jelly. Yummy, yummy. In my tummy.
That's funny.
All right. Okay, I've got a book for you. And I'm going to start by telling you, you have to think about all the things we've been talking about recently about Black history. And in January, when we talked about Dr. Martin Luther King and how he noticed that it wasn't fair that people were treated differently because of the color of their skin. And one of the things that he noticed was that there were water fountains and doorways and bathrooms that said whites only. And that meant only white people could go in there. So, or only white people could use that water fountain or go in that bathroom. So this book is kind of about that. It's about a little girl who didn't understand what the whites only sign means. See, there's a water fountain that says whites only. But she's drinking at it. And we're going to find out a little bit more about her. The name of this book is White Socks Only by Evelyn Coleman, illustrated by Tyrone Jeter. And this is the front cover of the book, back cover of the book, the spine of the book.
And even the title page.
Wait a minute. And this is the title page. It says White Socks Only. And you see that writing? It says, to Miss Fan's class, never judge another person by any measure other than your heart. Signed, Evelyn Coleman. She's the lady who wrote the book.
Nice. Oh.
Wrote the book.
So here's a little girl.
He wrote the
I want you
book.
to listen to this story. It's real important.
Somebody
And she's talking to her grandmother. So I'm just going to read this to you. She says, Grandma, can I walk into town by myself? I asked one hot summer's day. I knew what she was going to say. She was going to tell a story. Not just any story, but my favorite story. I need whoever that is making noise, probably Julia, to stop talking and listen.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Anaya, I'm glad to see you. It's time to listen to the story. She says, not just any story, but my favorite story. I watched her turn toward her spit can. Ping, the snuff hit the juice on the bottom. I don't think we needed to hear that. She rocked one or two times, her eyes closed, and then she looked up at me. You know you're not big enough to walk to town alone, girl. I sure don't know why you're asking me that. You're not big enough till you're going to do some good there. I smiled and plopped down on the step. She was about to begin the story. Grandma laughed. And there she is. She's listening to her grandma tell the story. Grandma, who's probably older than Miss Span, says, you know, when I was a little girl like yourself, I sneaked into town once. Yep, all by myself. Wasn't planning on doing no good. Had just been waiting for a scorching hot day. I had 2 eggs hid in my pockets. Not to eat, mind you, but to see if what folks said was true. She wanted to go see if she could scramble eggs on the sidewalk because it was so hot. That's what I think. I think she's going to go try to cook eggs on the sidewalk. I slipped on my finest Sunday dress and my shiny black patent leather shoes and my clean white socks, and I pulled my plaits back with the bow. Why, I thought I looked pretty grown up. Lord, you should have seen me strutting, the dust flying behind me. I had to hold my arm steady on account of the eggs, though. Now that I think about it, it must have been a funny sight. I sneaked up the road singing, jump back, Sally, 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 walking up the alley, alley, alley. There she is walking to town. This is Grandma, when Grandma was a little girl. I was feeling pretty fine till I spotted that old chicken man sitting on his porch with his mouth in a smile. I looked down at the dirt. My mama had told me that the chicken man still did things that he knew all the way from Africa, stuff that his grandmother had taught him. Mama also told me that he could heal the sick by laying on his hands. So he's kind of a spooky man, and she's walking by his house. And folks said that if people weren't doing right, he would turn the people into chickens. That's why they called him the chicken man. So just remember, the story is they call him the chicken man because they believe that he could turn you into a chicken if you're not doing the right thing. Just keep him in mind. And there, oh, look, there's a chicken. Anyway, when I got to town, I didn't see many folks that I knew. I wandered around with my mouth wide open, looking at white women in their fancy hats. That's when I saw Mama's friend, Miss Nancy, coming, and I hid because I knew if Miss Nancy saw me, I'd be in trouble. I stayed there until I saw Miss Nancy walk out of sight, and then I tiptoed out. But in my rush, I had burst one of my eggs, and it was slinking down my dress and legs. Oh, can you imagine some gooey egg running down your legs? I figured, but I better do what I came to do and get back home. I was standing in front of a big old building where there was a statue of a soldier sitting up on a horse. I read what it said on the building. Cole County Courthouse, Mississippi. There she is. She's looking at the statue, see? I carefully pulled my egg out of my pocket, and right there, I cracked it against the horse's leg. So she's got an egg and she's cracking it. And she dropped the eggs onto the sidewalk. Oh, Miss Span guessed it. The eggs inside dropped to the hot cement. I knelt down with my face close. I watched that egg like the old men watch the checkers before making a move. For a minute, I thought it wasn't going to do anything. And then right around the edges, I saw it. One little bit was turning white. Next, the white creeped wider and the yellow began to bubble. By golly, I was frying an egg on the sidewalk. It was so hot that her egg fried on the sidewalk. I started walking, and if it was hot enough to fry the egg on the sidewalk, think about how hot the air was. So she started wiping the sweat off of her face. I started wiping and wiping the sweat off my face with the eggy part of my dress sticking to me every time I took a step. My mouth was dry as dirt, and I saw a water fountain. It had a little step stool so children could climb up to drink, but on the fountain was a sign that said, whites only. Well, I knew what that meant, so I sat down in the grass and I took off my shiny black patent leather shoes. Now I only had on my clean white socks. I stepped up on that stool with those white socks hugging my feet. So what did she think it meant? She thought it meant that she had to wear white socks to get a drink. I was slurping up that water mighty fast when this big white man with a black and white bandana around his neck grabbed me off the stool and pushed me to the ground. That white man pointed to the sign and yelled at me, "Can't you read, girls? Well, I'm going to whip you till you can't sit down." And his fingers fumbled and tugged at his belt. Oh my. He was not a nice man, was he? I began to cry as a crowd of white people gathered around. They were all staring at me. Seeing all the people made me real scared and I cried louder. I couldn't understand what the white man was so mad about. I was wearing my white socks. Then an old black woman from my church stepped through the crowd. She had on all black, black dress, some high top black shoes and black stockings. She untied her shoes and took them off. She stepped up to the fountain, bent way down and took a drink. I knew that man was going to yell at her since she had on black socks. And he did. I'm going to have to whip you too, he shouted. And there's another woman taking a drink. And there's the mean man going, I'm going to whip her too. But then other black folks started coming over, removing their shoes and drinking from the fountain. They had on clean looking green socks and yellow socks and red socks and blue socks. Of course, the big man with the bandana kept right on yelling. His face got as red as fire. He was snorting through his nose like a bulldog when he's going to charge. Other white folks came up and started yelling at us too. By that time, the man had whipped his belt out of his pants. He was hitting me and everybody else who was close. None of the black people moved. They just covered their faces. I sat there sobbing and holding my arms over my head. See what she was doing? She was afraid he was going to hit her in the face, so she was putting her hands up. All of a sudden, everybody got quiet like they do in church. Even the white people. I peeked out through my arms. The black people and the white people were moving aside. The chicken man was coming through. He was slowly tapping his way toward me. When he got close, he stopped. He looked at me from the top of my head down to my white socks. Then he bent over and pulled off his black shoes, his face squeezing up. He had on the cleanest white socks you've ever seen. He stepped up on the stool. He didn't have to bend over very far because he was so short. He drank a long time from that fountain. I held my breath, and so did everybody else. The chicken man lifted his head. There he is. He turned around, smiling, and slowly stepped down off the stool. Without a word, he pointed a crooked finger at the white man who had been beating us. Now, what did those people believe? What did they think the chicken man was going to do? Yep. Brooklyn, I see you talking, but you're on mute. The white man's belt was down by his side now, clasped tightly in his fist. He was as still as a statue. Maybe everybody was a little bit scared of that man. The old chicken man helped me up. He took out a white handkerchief and wiped off my face. There now, child. It's time for you to go on home. You did all right. He handed me a chicken feather out of the brim of his hat and he hobbled away. All the black people surrounded me. They were all crying and hugging me. Then they took me home. And when they told Mama what had happened, she just broke out laughing. She said, well, I guess you can go to town by yourself now because you're old enough to do some good. Nobody ever saw that big white man who had whipped us. None of us dared to ask about the big chicken flapping around the courthouse near the water fountain either. And from then on, the whites only sign was gone from that water fountain forever. Look at that. They didn't ever see the man anymore, but they saw that chicken that looked kind of like him. Do you think the chicken man turned him into a chicken? I don't think that could really happen. But maybe he knew he'd done the wrong thing. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, friendos. I have got a song for us that we can stand up and wiggle. It's a pattern song. It's called Banana, Banana, Meatball. I think we've sung it before, but anyway, we're going to make a pattern with our bodies, okay? So y'all stand up where you can see the screen, and we're going to do a pattern with our bodies. Ready?
There you go. That's good.
Okay.
Come on, Aaron.
Make a pattern. This way. Meatball. Banana, banana, 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 meatball. Another pattern. Make a pattern. Make a pattern. We're going right and left. That's a pattern too. Right, left, right, left. Nod, clap, shake your hips. 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 Nod. Whoops, another one. Make a pattern. Make a pattern. Make a pattern. Make a pattern. Loud, loud. Loud, loud. Loud, loud. Loud, loud. Loud, loud. They're talking about all the patterns they see. Do what you pattern.
I wanted to jump.
Elbow, stomach, stomach, elbow, elbow, stomach, stomach, elbow, elbow, stomach, stomach, elbow, elbow, stomach, elbow, elbow, stomach, stomach, elbow, elbow.
Patterns everywhere. Patterns made of shapes. Patterns made of break. Patterns on the cheetah. Patterns on my feeder. Patterns in the nap. Patterns in this rag.
Yay! Make a pattern. Make a pattern.
All right. Make a pattern. Make a pattern. Let's make a pattern.
Woo!
I'm like totally obsessed with patterns.
Anyway you look, you can see a pattern that's pointing right out. Just gotta be paying attention.
All right.
Want to go full go noodle? Then click here and create a free
What?
account.
What'd y'all think of that one? Did you like making a pattern with your bodies? We can do that all. We can go head, head, clap, 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 head, head, clap, 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 head, head, clap, 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 head, head, clap, clap. You can make all kinds of patterns with just your body, can't you? That was fun. All right, my friends. Whew. Miss Fanfield's exercised out. I hope that you had a great week with us. We enjoyed being with you, and we love you, and we will see you on Monday. Ma'am? And we will see you on Monday morning, okay? All right.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to send, that song will be in the video, and I am going to send the ingredients in the peanut butter in the email that I'm about to see you, okay? I love you, and we'll see you
Love
Monday
you.
morning. Bye.
Love you. Yeah, bye-bye.